Hello everyone, this is Sebastian from the Junkyard Gamers channel. Today I'm joined with Kieran,
Hello.
and today we're going to be doing an anime review video of the new anime, God of High School. So,
Yes.
God of High School is an anime that I was interested in before the first episode's release. I saw the trailer and I thought it had an interesting premise, and the fact that, like its predecessor, Tower of God, it was an adaptation of a webtoon. And God of High School just finished airing its first season, so this is a good time for a review of the anime. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay. I'll start off with the good parts of God of High School. The premise of the whole show is basically a tournament arc, which is a common trope in past anime like Dragon Ball and Naruto, the fight anime. There would be a tournament arc every now and then, and there would always be like the arc everybody remembers for the cool fight scenes. Well, this show, God of High School, the whole thing is a tournament arc. And in my opinion, the fight scenes were animated beautifully. The studio Mappa does a good animating almost perfectly in every episode of the show. The character designs are a bit different from the source material webtoon, but in a way that looks modern, refined, and still true to the original characters. The opening and ending for the show are both really, really good, both audio and visual, and I think they belong in everyone's playlist who's seen the show of their favorite anime openings. Now, here's the part where things get a bit shaky for me. The plot for God of High School is handled so poorly due to the fact that there's like 100 chapters of the webtoon being condensed into 13 episodes. And there's always, in every episode, two plots going on at once, a main plot and a B plot. And that's just shown in the fact that all the episodes have like two titles, like there's a slash between them. And because there's two plots going on at the same time. And the B plot, while the main plot is confusing by itself, the B plot is even more confusing somehow. Nothing's ever explained, and the fights, while animated, they're very well and look really cool. They devolved from cool hand-to-hand, down-to-earth combat at the beginning into fights where basically they awaken stands in the middle of the fight out of nowhere, and all of a sudden the tide is turned and they one-shot the other person. And it's not like that only happened once in the whole show. All three of the main characters awakened Charyuk mid-fight for no apparent reason, and then just defeat their opponent. The only emotion or attempt at character development is the character's sad backstories, which every character has one. How are you supposed to care for a character when you haven't even been attached to them yet? Like you're introduced to a character and then immediately you're thrown into a backstory. It's like I don't really care yet because they haven't been developed. How am I supposed to feel emotions for them if I don't even know anything about them? I was just introduced to them. I already know they're an orphan or something. If the show wanted to do all these things it tries to do, it needed to be in a more expanded number of episodes with time to explain what's happening, build the world, and develop the characters. When these big disaster things are happening, do we know where if there's a response team happening? Are there firefighters in this world? Are there police officers? We'll never know because all we see is the main characters destroying a whole city. If they were going to do this amount of chapters, I understand that 13 episodes is the formula for seasonal anime, but they should have done something like 24 at least, bare minimum, like Demon Slayer did, or Tower of God. Just do 24 at the bare minimum, because then you can at least have one complete confusing plot each episode instead of two confusing plots. And that's just the main plot. What in the world is even happening in this B plot? Apparently God appears and pushes on a giant hand, and then we're trying to see whose giant hand can push harder. None of these big powers used by colliding forces are even explained. It's just oh, yep, they're pushing. And then there's this one dude that comes out of nowhere and just starts drumming. And the drumming just somehow attacks it. I don't even know what's happening. And it looks cool, but I need a bit of substance and logic present in my anime in order for me to enjoy it. The art and animation is a definite 10 out of 10, while the story and plot is more like a 2 or a 3 out of 10, 3 if we're being generous. So in conclusion, I give God of High School a 6 out of 10. It's a cool fight anime with really good animation, but unfortunately has some fundamental flaws and tries to fit too much into a 13 episode frame. Now what I think looks promising, number one is the fact that Studio Mappa did really good at animating, which bodes well for the season 4 of Attack on Titan, which is coming up soon. Another thing that bodes well for the future is this might become a trend with between Tower of God and God of High School, webtoons becoming anime, which could open the door for some very cool stuff that like couldn't have happened before, because before it was just manga becoming anime and nothing else. And now we might see some cool webtoons become anime.
Alright, I guess it's my turn. Okay, so my problem with the series is that, first of all, like you said, there's only like 13 episodes, and they like condensed like 41 chapters into that one season, and it just seemed very fast paced. First of all, yeah, and it's just like out of nowhere, like when one of the episodes, one of the main characters, Mira, is proposed to out of like nowhere, and an entire like mini arc of like 5 chapters or so is crammed into like one episode, which was ultimately useless to the story as a whole, where as they were already condensing so much into the 13 episodes. So I have no idea like what they're thinking on that. Another instance of this was like in the last arc. They were fighting in the fighting tournament when out of nowhere, like some other group of people start summoning like giant god like beings out of just air, and and then they just start summoning like stand stuff out of nowhere, which I didn't understand. And then just and then another instance is like this random dude just comes out with like guns and like instruments and starts shooting this giant hand. Like, I'm just confused what's happening in the show. Honestly, compared to like the manhwa or the original source, it's like way like harder to understand. So, as a viewer of the anime, I would say that God of High School was very confusing and kind of falls short of the season one in the actual original source. And I think it got some things right with like the character designs, the fights, and the I guess the the music and like the openings and the endings. But it honestly just failed to explain like anything that was happening. Everything was just super confusing and came out of nowhere, and it was super fast paced. So honestly, I would say in order to fix the anime in the future, they should slow down and really like explain what is happening on screen, because that's very important to really enjoying the show. Anyway, I feel that I'd rate it like a 5 out of 10, because I feel like while not like as bad as being like boring and not interesting, it is interesting. It's just that you don't know what's happening at all. All right, that's my review.
Yeah, I think we agreed on most of the stuff. And you
Yeah,
gave it a 5, I gave it a 6.
yeah,
I think it was really entertaining. I'll say that. It was entertaining, but like there was nothing going
yeah,
on upstairs.
yeah. It's like watching a fight with no context.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty much the show.
Yeah. So anyway, that was our review of God of High School. If you disagree, leave a comment saying what you would rate it out of 10 and why. And give
Yeah,
us suggestions for what anime we should review next in the future.
yeah. I'm probably gonna read the original source because it's way more slow paced and actually explains things.
Anyway, goodbye.
Goodbye.